Good morning to you all, and this is Mrs. Nibbs giving you our very first YouTube video version of geography lessons. This lesson today will be quite short because most of you have actually done some of this already, so I'm just trying to sort of give a bit of a recap just to get you used to this and get you ready for future learning. First of all though, what's really important firstly is that one, you're all well, and secondly that the quiz that you will be asked to do at the very end is submitted on Teams. Okay, rather than keep emailing it to us all, if you put it on Teams, then we know that you've done it. And there's also going to be a way that you will get your score back of how well you've done. So, as you know, we've been learning about natural hazards, and just spend a couple of minutes maybe jotting down some of the natural hazards that you can think of. If I ask you to do a task on this, just hit pause. So what we're learning about now is the structure of the Earth, and just a reminder that the structure of the Earth, we need to learn about the different layers, the characteristics, and we want to be able to compare the structures with other examples. Now I know you've seen some of this, or some of you will have seen this video before. Apologies, it's not the most dynamic, they're not the most exciting, but there's some really good things about this video that give you an idea of really how we got to where we are, what the different core elements are and the different layers. What I would suggest you do is maybe jot down some of the things that it's saying, because it will be really helpful to be able to have some of those answers ready for the next section. Okay, so you've seen the video, you've got some ideas as to what the world is like and the different layers of it. And the next bit, I'm going to give you a bit of a choice actually. You can either just draw the next image into your book, so onto some paper, or just download it onto a PowerPoint or Word document. Don't mind what, feel happy to do what you want. Or you might want to be creative. If you want to build a model, go out in your garden, see what you can find, pile things up, see if you can make your own planet Earth. That's great. Should you be lucky enough to still have some eggs and flour and you want to make it as a cake, brilliant, send me some photographs, sit down as a family, enjoy eating it. But the important thing is that I need you to know what the structure of the Earth is like. Okay, so have a quick go, have a look at the layers, put it on pause, work it out, decide how you're going to do this bit, and let's move on. So who got the layers right? So right in the very centre we've got the inner core, followed obviously by the outer core, then the mantle, and then the crust. Now the next stage is, what we can do is we can have a look and you can add these labels further. So we've got the core comprising of the outer and the inner core. What I want you to do now is, to your models, your diagrams, I want you to try and find out the answers to these questions. So first of all, label the inner and outer. Tell me the thickness of each one and their temperatures and what rocks they consist of. Tell me if they're solid or liquid and what the function the inner core has. And see whether you can find out something really interesting. Email me the most interesting fact you can find out about the core. Now the mantle to me is the most exciting of all the layers. If we think about what it does, it's kind of what gets us to where we are. It's this really strange, we call it viscous or molten. Okay, viscous is a bit like your jam. If you think about when you're putting jam on your bread, that it's not a liquid, it's not a solid, but it can move, and it moves slowly. Don't try this at home, but if you were to pour some jam onto your younger brother or sister's head, imagine it would go on it slowly. As I said, please don't try it at home. I do not want the cleaning bill. So on your model, your diagram, tell me the thickness, tell me whether it's solid, liquid, partly molten or gas. There's an upper layer, see whether you can name it. Tell me what the magma actually does. Tell me about the lithosphere. and see whether you can find out why the mantle is so very important. Now the crust, the way I like to describe the crust is a bit like the scab of the earth. Okay, if you imagine that when you fall over and hit yourself and you graze your knee, probably did it when you're about 5-6 years old, that you cut your knee, a bit of blood oozes out. After a while it gets a bit sticky. Well, that's like your magma. And then you get the crust. And the crust is really your dried magma, just like your dried blood, a bit like your scab. Okay, sorry if that's put you off your dinner. Now the crust is made up of a couple of different things. One, what we call oceanic, one, what we call continental crust. And you need to find out about those. I want you to tell me the thicknesses. I want you to learn about plates. What are they? What do they do? I mentioned the two types of crust, so you've already got a clue there. Tell me about which of those two is the oldest or the densest. Tell me what landforms they create. And again, I really, really want an interesting fact. Okay, that's probably taken you quite a while, but I want you to now think about what else can look like the structure of the earth. Now I've gone for a Malteser. By the way, when we return to school, I do like Maltesers if you want to send me any. Tell me, is this a good or a bad example and why? What would you suggest that would look like the structure of the earth, and give me reasons? Right guys, hopefully you've spent some time, you've learned all about the different layers of the earth. I want you now to go on to Teams, and there'll be a quick quiz there for you to do online and submit. Stay well, see you next week.